Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be covering Manchester City against Liverpool, the biggest game of the Premier League weekend on Sunday evening, one which can have pretty big implications on the title race, given how Liverpool were held to a 2-2 draw at Aston Villa midweek. As it stands, the Reds are 8 points clear at the top of the table over Arsenal, who do notably have an extra game to play, which will be against Chelsea at home. Meanwhile, City are in 4th, 17 points off Liverpool, so realistically top 4 is all they can really fight for now, especially given that they were knocked out of the Champions League midweek by Real Madrid. Real Madrid were absolutely dominant against Man City over the two legs. They won by an aggregate score of 6-3. They looked so confident at the Bernabeu midweek, and they made City honestly look way out of their depth. It was always going to be a tough ask for Pep Guardiola to overturn a 3-2 deficit at the Bernabeu, but they were pretty much embarrassed by the golfing quality between the two sides, and given how they've really struggled in transition. So the first angle that I've got in mind is to go for a Liverpool shots on target, or alternatively a Man City saves angle. Looking into the data, we can see that the Man City goalkeeper has made at least 3 saves in 9 of the last 10 games in all competitions. I think that just goes to show how sort of poor City have been defensively, and it's something that Liverpool would definitely look to exploit. Under Arne Slot, the Reds sort of prioritised creating higher quality chances as opposed to having lots of attempts at goal as they did under Jurgen Klopp. So the first angle I've got in mind is for Ederson to register 3 or more saves, combined with Mo Salah to register a shot on target, which comes out at 2.0 with Bet365. Initially, just based on how both sides have played this season, I think this game is going to be quite slow paced, probably quite cagey at times. I don't think it will be particularly end-to-end or feisty. I think both sides have sort of a preference for playing quite settled football, controlling the ball, opting for sort of high possession game style, similar to how we saw sort of Man City and Arsenal games play out last season or the season before. And just based on that, the angle that I would like to go for is sort of unders free kicks. That's one that initially would appeal based on the sort of game that I'm expecting or the game that I envision in my mind. The free kick line is set at 24.5 on Bet365, which is relatively low on the surface for an average Premier League game. Considering that City are averaging just under 20 free kicks per game and Liverpool are averaging around the 24 free kicks per game margin, it on the surface seems a bit sensible to probably play the under. However, looking into the head-to-head data which is on screen, we can see that recent free kick counts read 24, which was the only game under Arne Slot for Liverpool, 23 before that, 27, 29, 20 and 17. So 2 of those 6 games going over, 4 of those going under, but most of them are very close to the line, which isn't ideal. Noticeably though, we can see that the offside counts for both sides are especially high. They read 7, 7, 7, 8, 4, 3, 6. So both sides racking up the offsides in this head-to-head over the last couple of seasons. Given how offsides are accounting for quite a large portion of free kicks in this head-to-head match over the last few seasons, I'd actually probably be more interested in pivoting to over 3.5 offsides, which is priced at 1.66 with Bet365. Again, it's slightly short on the surface, but I would say this price is probably okay to take as a single or potentially go for the higher lines based on the data. Looking into how both sides have performed over the season for this statistic, Liverpool are averaging 4.22 offsides per game when playing away in all competitions, with this bet landing in each of their last 6 straight games. Meanwhile, City are averaging 3.5 offsides at home. Again, quite decently below the line, but given that it's a sort of special fixture in a sense between these two sides, the head-to-head data I would say becomes more relevant than how these two have performed across the season in general. So I prefer the offsides angle as opposed to the free kick unders for my second bet. Also though, with offsides being quite high, fouls have been quite low between the two sides. So I've also considered going for, instead of an unders free kicks, going for an unders cards angle. As it stands, we have a 4.5 cards line, pick'em with the over and the under, both priced at 1.83 with Bet365. For those that follow me on Twitter or Telegram, they might know that I've been working on a bookings model of my own, one which takes in a few variables and comes out with a prediction for the total amount of booking points shown in games across Europe's top big leagues. And I've been monitoring the results of the model over on my website. So the current prediction for this game, Man City against Liverpool, is 36.3 booking points, well below the current line, which suggests an underplay. Circling back to the head-to-head data, we can see the card counts in this matchup read 4-3-4 to 4-4-2, with over 4.5 cards last landing in the FA Cup game back in 2021-2022. So under 4.5 cards has landed in each of the last 7 head-to-head matches, including the one game between Arne Slot and Pep Guardiola. Again, just expecting how I think the game will go, being quite slow, controlled, calculated. I don't think it lends to a sort of high card game. But that will be all the bets I intended to cover in this video. Games like this can be a bit hard to call. Obviously, we don't get these kind of matchups between such high profile sides very often, which is why I've weighted the head-to-head data quite heavily. So just to summarize, the first bet I covered is Ederson to make 3 plus saves, combined with a Salah shot on target, which comes out at 2.0 with Bet365. Moving on to a total match offsides ladder, with the main line at over 3.5 offsides at 1.66 with Bet365. And then finally, under 4.5 cards at 1.83 with Bet365. Best of luck for any bets you decide to go with. Thank you for your support on the video, and I will catch you all in the next one.